Good evening, I'm Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. In today's episode, we start with breaking news from Bersatu. Several familiar faces have been sacked. Disputed Bersatu chairperson Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, Bersatu deputy president Mukhriz Mahathir and 3 others have been officially sacked from the party over grounds that they had sat on the opposition bench during the May 18th Dewan Rakyat sitting. The decision was conveyed to them by Organising Secretary Muhammad Suhaimi Yahya via a letter dated today cited by Malaysiakini. The others sacked were Bersatu Youth Chief Syed Rahman as well as Bersatu Supreme Council members Maszlee, Malik and Amiruddin Hamzah. Malaysia continues to cut down on the number of daily new cases and talks are going well with 3 neighbouring countries as Malaysia looks to deport undocumented migrants. Malaysia has reported the lowest daily increase of COVID-19 cases since March 12, with 10 cases. This comes after Malaysia reported triple-digit increases in new cases earlier this week, detected at 3 immigration detention depots in Bukit Jalil, Semenyih and Sepang.
Ingin dimaklumkan bahawa kesemua 10 kes baru yang dilaporkan adalah penularan tempatan, di mana 5 kes adalah bukan warga negara Malaysia dan tiada kes import yang mendapat jangkitan di 2 negara pada hari ini.
The death toll remains at 115 with no new deaths reported today. Despite the country showing signs of improvement, Dr. Nur Hisham said more time is needed before the government will be able to ease more restrictions. The government will assess the impact of public movement due to the festive season during the first week of June.
On the 9th of June, we will make a decision, which means if we can sustain until 9th of June, taking into account of the festive season, then perhaps we will open up more social sector as well as the education sector. So the timing is important. And this is why we are very cautious before we make any changes to our policy. So we hope that the public can work hand in hand with the Ministry of Health to make sure that they comply to the SOP.
Meanwhile, in Singapore, 373 new cases were reported today, with the vast majority involving work permit holders residing in foreign worker dormitories. There were no cases involving Singaporeans or permanent residents. It will be the end of the road for thousands of undocumented migrants as far as their stay in Malaysia is concerned, as Indonesia, Nepal and Bangladesh are showing positive signs that they are open to receiving their nationals. Over 4,000 undocumented migrants detained at 3 immigration detention depots have been tested for COVID-19. As a result, a total of 355 tested positive. This includes 1 positive case that was detected among a staff member at the Semenyih depot. Senior Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob told a press conference in Putrajaya this afternoon that while those who tested positive will be treated in Malaysia, those who tested negative will be sent home.
Seperti yang saya umumkan semalam, bahawa parti yang telah pun disaring dan didapati positif, didapati negatif, kita akan hantar mereka pulang ke tanah air mereka. Ya. Jadi saya ingin mengucapkan setinggi-tinggi terima kasih kepada 3 negara, wakil mereka di kedutaan mereka di sini, kerana telah pun memberi respon yang positif kepada saranan kita untuk menghantar rakyat mereka pulang ke tanah air mereka selepas kita membuat saringan dan didapati negatif. Negara tersebut adalah Indonesia yang bersetuju, Nepal dan juga Bangladesh yang mengatakan persetujuan mereka.
Ismail Sabri said since the Malaysia Agro Exposition Park Serdang Quarantine and Treatment Centre was opened, 370 undocumented migrants have received treatment, with 16 discharged. On a separate matter, Ismail said the government has no plans of screening international students living in their university campuses here for now, as there have been no cases among them. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin is still under home quarantine, but he is keeping a tab on recent developments through video conferencing.
Tetapi kerana Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri di kuarantin, maka saya bersama-sama dengan DG ataupun Ketua Pengarah Kesihatan membuat makluman dan briefing kepada Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri melalui video conferencing. Lebih daripada setengah jam tadi sebenarnya saya memberikan buat video conferencing yang mana Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri masih berada di rumah kerana di kuarantin secara wajib.
The minister was also asked to comment on the Malaysian Association of America's claim that COVID-19 has taken the lives of at least 10 Malaysians in New York. During her press conference, he said the government hasn't been able to verify the claim at the time.
Pagi tadi pun kita cek dengan pihak Wisma, pihak Kementerian Luar. Kementerian Luar pun tidak mendapat maklumat pun tentang perkara ini. Jadi oleh itu, tidak tahu statusnya. Adakah berita itu benar ataupun adakah berita itu bukan berita yang benar. Jadi kita tidak tahu, Kementerian Luar pun tidak tahu, Wisma Putra tidak tahu. Dan Wisma Putra sedang menyiasat perkara ini.
This comes as the death toll in the United States from COVID-19 surpassed 100,000. Will Malaysia be rocked by another political drama this year? According to a close associate of Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, something is brewing. Malaysian politics may appear to be relatively stable now compared to the immediate aftermath of the Sheraton move. But according to Bersatu Supreme Council member A. Jasin, another twist could be on the horizon. In a blog post published last night, Kadir speculated that Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin could be mulling a return to UMNO due to the uncertainty surrounding Bersatu's future. The veteran newsman also claimed that Muhyiddin, who is the president of the fractured Bersatu, could once again receive the short end of the stick. Kadir said people must remember Muhyiddin did not leave UMNO. He was sacked by former President Najib Abdul Razak, whereas Bersatu chairperson Dr. Mahathir Mohamad left UMNO voluntarily. He said it would not be impossible or shocking if Muhyiddin returned to UMNO. Muhyiddin was sacked from UMNO in 2016 for rebelling against Najib, who was the Prime Minister at the time, over the 1MDB scandal. In February this year, Muhyiddin took Bersatu out of Pakatan Harapan to form the Perikatan Nasional Coalition, with BN PAS and others to seize control of the federal government. Bersatu, however, is split between those aligned to Muhyiddin and Mahathir. Mahathir's faction has remained supportive of Harapan. Meanwhile, Kadir claimed that UMNO is using PN to satisfy its desire for power and as a launchpad for its Muafakat Nasional Pact with PAS. He said UMNO and PAS could spell trouble for the Prime Minister. Kadir explained that UMNO and PAS can trigger a crisis such as a vote of no confidence against Muhyiddin so that the PN government falls, forcing the dissolution of parliament and trigger a snap general election. Should university students be paying their full tuition fees when they're not even attending class on campus? Are those Zoom classes really that effective? Syed has weighed in on the issue. Former Youth and Sports Minister Syed has called for university tuition fees to be reduced. In a Facebook page today, he said this was as most classes have stopped in the midst of the movement control order. He said he had received complaints from students who say they will have to pay tuition fees as usual, even though most of them have returned home or studies are no longer ongoing. Even if there are classes, they are done online, and there are students without internet access, so they cannot keep up with their studies, and the university infrastructures are not being used. On top of that, he said students from the B40 and M40 economic classes are increasingly suffering under the MCO as many of their parents may have lost their jobs. He added that the students and their families shouldn't have to face the burden of university tuition fees on top of this. Saddiq said the issue should be addressed and the future of these students is not a trivial matter. He said if the situation escalates, students could be forced to drop out of school simply because of the burden of tuition fees during the MCO. Coming up next, the death toll in the US caused by COVID-19 has surpassed 100,000. With over 1.7 million cases and 100,000 deaths, the land of the free and the home of the brave continues to struggle with COVID-19. The novel coronavirus has killed more than 100,000 people in the United States, according to a Reuters tally on Wednesday, even as the slowdown in deaths encouraged businesses to reopen and Americans to emerge from more than 2 months of lockdowns. About 1,400 Americans have died on average each day in May, down from a peak of 2,000 in April, according to a tally of state and county data of COVID-19 deaths. In about 3 months, more Americans have died from COVID-19 than during the Korean War, Vietnam War and US conflict in Iraq from 2003 and 2011 combined. The new respiratory disease has also killed more people than the AIDS epidemic did in 1981 through 1989, and it is far deadlier than the seasonal flu has been in decades. The last time the flu killed as many people in the United States was in the 1957 to 1958 season, when 116 people died. Total US coronavirus cases are over 1.7 million, with some southern states seeing new cases rising in the past week, according to a Reuters analysis of data from the COVID-19 Tracking Project, a volunteer-run effort to track the outbreak. Globally, coronavirus cases have topped 5.6 million, with over 350,000 deaths since the outbreak began in China late last year. Of the top 20 most severely affected countries, the United States ranked 8 based on deaths per capita, according to a Reuters tally. The United States has 3 fatalities per 10,000 people. Belgium is first with 8 deaths per 10,000, followed by Spain, the United Kingdom and Italy, according to a Reuters analysis. The US has taken a tough stance on Hong Kong following China's security proposal. US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo told Congress on Wednesday that Hong Kong no longer qualifies for its special status under US law. He said China had undermined Hong Kong's autonomy so fundamentally they could not support its recertification for its special pre-1997 trading status. With the announcement by Pompeo, it now falls to US President Donald Trump to decide to end some, all or none of the US economic privileges the territory enjoys. According to Reuters, people familiar with the matter had said that the Trump administration was considering suspending Hong Kong's preferential tariff rates for exports to the US as part of its response to China's plan. Trump said on Tuesday that Washington was working on a strong response that will be announced before the end of the week.
Can you tell us what you plan to do regarding sanctions against China for its pending actions against Hong Kong? And do you also intend to put restrictions on F&J visas for students and researchers coming into the United States from China?
Your question's early. We're doing it now. We're doing something now. I think you'll find it very interesting, but I won't be talking about it today. I'll be talking about it over the next couple of days, John. Okay? But it's a very important question. Yes, please. Anybody?
Something special that you mentioned on China, does that include sanctions?
No,
or does that?
It's something you're going to be hearing about before the end of the week. Very powerfully, I think.
China's security proposal unveiled last week sparked the first large street demonstrations in Hong Kong for months. The law aims to prevent and punish subversion, separatism, terrorism or foreign interference and could see Chinese intelligence agencies set up in Hong Kong. Hundreds of protesters had taken to the streets and shopping malls as Hong Kong's legislature debated a bill that criminalizes disrespect of the Chinese national anthem. Protesters saw it as a move by China to strip away the city's freedoms. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'll be back with more tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Bersatu Youth. Thank you for watching.